boys, girls, all my trombones out there, welcome back to Other Robert. I'm the other, and that is Robert, and the other Robert.
Wow, it was I always wonder how you think of your introductions, and sometimes I think I want to steal them, but that one I'm glad I didn't steal. A little awkward. But we are here to discuss the second episode of Flash Season 3, Paradox. What do you think, Joe?
This is fantastic. Really, I mean, this is excellent writing at its finest for DC shows. They had a goal in mind when they did Flashpoint.
Yep.
And you can tell they're not writing by the week, It was great. I mean, the consequences of Flashpoint, it felt dire in a way that, although it wasn't, and Flash said it wasn't big changes, but it was significant changes to those around him.
Yeah, sentimental changes to each other.
And there was no undoing it.
Nope.
And they made that pretty clear. I thought it was fantastic. What about you?
Yes. I loved it. I loved it. Last night, Supergirl I thought was really strong, and I'm really happy that they're continuing strong episodes. Flash is always strong. I thought last week's episode was excellent too, but tonight was another great episode. And I also like that they are slightly resolving some issues. For example, the Iris and Joe issue that they introduced at the end of last week's. I'm glad that was a 1 week thing.
Right, because that would have... I was thinking that if they were to keep that going, it wouldn't have been the most interesting thing. I think people would have kind of checked out in terms of that.
Yeah, and the thing is, Iris, minus being the essential future wife of Barry Allen, she doesn't do a ton of significant work in the show, more or less. And you can't have her be angry. It's not in character for her to be an angry person.
Angry, no, but assertive, yes.
Assertive, totally.
In Other Earth, she was very kind of assertive, and we saw that again last week in kind of the other timeline. I like when she's assertive, but
I agree. Yeah, I just can't. When she has animosity towards someone, I don't like it. It's
because the character's often, I mean, she's often written kind of just
mild-mannered.
Yeah, mild-mannered, just kind of non-existent in terms of
exactly
everyone else, But it's when she actually has a point, and like I said, assert something. The character can be so much more, and I think she does a fantastic job with it. It's just when she gets more. But
that was a good one that they instantly wiped away. That they at least were able to remove that consequence, even more or less.
Speaking of consequences, Rival, that was cool. That was
I didn't expect him to come back. He wasn't in any of the marketing for this week's episode, so I was really shocked by that.
Yeah, well, we saw him last week.
Yep.
We saw him at the end. We saw the alchemy on the mirror. So I was kind of expecting to see him back, but for him to remember Flashpoint was pretty cool. And then we got, and this is, I think, the coolest thing that we've ever gotten in these DC shows yet. The coolest thing. We got alchemy, but who's alchemy? None other than Tobin Bell, Jigsaw. That is amazing.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
It's perfect. When he first started talking, I'm like, wow, they went for a real Jigsaw vibe. That sounds a lot like him. And then he started talking some more. I'm like,
it has to be him.
Sounds too close to him. So I looked it up, and it's none other than Tobin Bell. As the voice. I mean, obviously the man's 74. He's not going to be
in the suit, right?
Yeah, he's not going to be. I'm expecting that to be Tom Felton, but wow, what a perfect. Tobin Bell has that voice, and that's why Jigsaw. That's part of why Jigsaw was so intimidating. Was just that commanding, intimidating voice. And for that to be a villain in Flash, I think is perfect, and it's long overdue. And I think it fits that character with the mystery and kind of the magic behind it. I think it's the best casting we've had on any of these shows yet.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I love the voice. I love Alchemy. I think he's super intimidating. I like how he's reverting people from Flashpoint to what they were on the Earth we're in. I really like that concept. which is interesting because I'm really curious when Wally will get his feedback, because I felt kind of bad for him during this episode. I always feel they always run away from him. So I really hope that he does get his speed.
I just don't know what they'll do, because if you get Kid Flash, Jesse Quick, Vibe, I mean, it'll start to become a bit too much in terms of like they won't feel like there will be a threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's too many people to protect them.
Exactly.
So this episode introduced Tom Felton. Let's talk about him for a minute. What do you think of his
Malfoy.
character?
He was essentially Malfoy.
Yes, he was Malfoy. He was a dick, and I didn't like it because I really felt that he was. We know that Tom Felton can act that way.
We've seen him play the character
For 8 years.
Yeah, for a good portion of his life.
So one of the trailers that they released, they had him talk to Barry, and from the conversation, which was at the end of this episode, they it seemed that it was in a positive way, because he was saying like, "You're not who you say you are," something like that. I thought it was nothing to be negative, and then throughout this whole episode, he was super negative to him, and I didn't like it.
Oh, I loved it. I love the character. You don't know what to expect from him.
Oh, I know. And don't get me wrong, I like the fact that Barry has someone that he doesn't like him. I think that's great, because essentially everyone likes Barry Allen. Who doesn't like Barry Allen? He's like pudding, to quote Felicity. So I think it's great for him to have someone who dislikes him, but I just wish that Tom Felton got to be a little bit more utilized.
And I love the writing that they essentially already know each other.
Yes. So I actually am really curious to see like how they're going to throw in that backstory, more or less. It's interesting to call it like a backstory, because is it a backstory?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. I mean, I think they're just gonna play off of, oh well, you always hate me, like type thing. But I think it's great.
Well, it's like you just feel bad for for Barry being like, well, why? And then he just has to accept it.
Well, we found out why towards the end, that there's a lack of trust there, and
yeah, but that's just Malfoy being Malfoy.
No, but he seemed grounded, and
I have to tell you this: when he was calling him Alan, I really expected him to accidentally say Potter during part of the episode.
He his delivery was great. I mean, we said, he's kind of used to that kind of standoffish type weasel type character. But he was great, though. I love it.
Very refreshing.
What I'm looking forward to seeing, and I hope we get it, is a scene with him and Tom Cavanaugh. Have him with Harry. I think the two of them would just work off each other so well.
He's coming back next week, so that'll be cool.
Hopefully for the long run, too, because I think he's one of the strongest actors on the show.
Yes. Totally. Harry's awesome. From even in season 1, when I didn't even like him. I like the actor, not the character, and I always want him on the show. He's awesome.
Absolutely.
The bigger thing I wanted to quickly discuss was Cisco and how he was really negative to Barry and not mean, but I guess he's in just such a state of grief that he couldn't get over it, and even at the end of the episode, he still seemed like he couldn't get over it 100%, but that he was on his side.
In terms of the story, that was my only real negative with how they handled things. I thought there was going to be more there, but it just felt kind of contrived and silly what it wound up being.
Now, maybe because I'm from the outside looking in here, when he told them that he went back in time, he got a new world, and then he fixed it, and then got another new world, and then Cisco still was angry at him. I was like, did you just go deaf when he explained that whole situation to him?
Yeah, the whole thing was kind of silly. In terms of, I guess, motives and rationale, right? I mean, a very smart character.
Yeah, I don't want to say like get over it, but like I feel like you just can't take it out on Barry, because he can't fix this. He told you why he can't fix it, so don't be mad at him for that.
It didn't make much sense, especially in terms of the character. The character we've never known to be. And selfish is a poor word, but just that kind of gritty.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Behavior. It didn't make sense. And even though Flashpoint changed things, it still just it was pretty inconsistent with who the character actually is.
Yeah, and so let's see. We've discussed Iris. We've discussed Joe. We discussed Wally. We discussed Dr. Alchemy. We discussed Julian. I guess the only other character we haven't discussed was the fact that Caitlin Snow has her ice powers again.
Yeah, and
I love that reveal. I'm very happy that she's getting Becker Ice powers because I loved how she looked as Killer Frost, and I'm looking forward to see that again.
Again, though, and I know they explained this with Jay Garrick, who was great. I love if we get some of these little encounters with Jay Garrick. I think that'll be great. But when he explained that things will be a little bit different every time you do it, the fact that Caitlin didn't have a metagene though, and now she does.
Well, that's like the same thing. Well, before we discussed the review, where you said, "How does Barry's going back in time and correcting it give Diggle a boy?"
Change the sex of
change the sex of the baby. So, I mean, the baby thing, I don't think will be a big deal or ever touched upon in Arrow. But I feel like they'll explain her powers. They're gonna have to, because she was an ophthalmologist in the other world.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, that's another one thing. Another one of the things that I know what we're watching. Well, no, just in general. Like I know what we're watching.
Yeah, but you said, but I don't know. I like it. I like the fact that she has her powers back.
No, I like that she has powers, but the fact that she didn't have a metagene, now she does. It's just, I don't know. I want to see if there's another way kind of around it.
Well, I mean, Cisco wasn't negative before, now he is.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a couple things just kind of rub me the wrong way, but overall, fantastic episode.
Yeah, when you can tweak the original timeline that you set up, tweak it to your heart's content is kind of what they're doing.
Yeah.
So overall, I thought it was a fantastic episode. I really liked it, minus Cisco's little negativity. Though I did really enjoy when Vibe came to save him from the rival. I thought that was a really cool scene. And I liked the rival quite a bit here, but I enjoyed Dr. Alchemy so much more.
Yeah, I really like the rival. I mean, it's a shame we really couldn't get more with him. He felt, I guess this is really from the actor. I thought the actor was terrific. He felt bigger than a 1 week villain. You know what I mean? He could have had a lot more.
He get two.
Okay, yeah, right. But he could have had a lot more than he had. He very, very charismatic.
Yeah, he was really good. Also, I don't know if you got to see Supergirl last night, but the visuals are just improving so well. I always like the visuals on Flash, but Supergirl and Flash just had great visual effects as usual. I love them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just very, very, very engaging. And I would say that Flash again is keeping it strong.
Absolutely.
And that's all I got. Do you have anything else to say?
Just the fact that I'm going to be loving this Jigsaw news for a while, because I don't know if I've said on the channel, Saw is my favorite movie series. So Tobin Bell doesn't nearly get enough work as he should have, and also he is 74 at this point. But it's really cool to see him in this world. And although we said, like I said earlier, he probably won't actually be Alchemy under the mask, it's still good to hear his voice there, because he's got that.
It works.
It really works, and it works for. They're saying that season 3 will have Alchemy and Savitar as the two main, the main two villains. Mm-hmm. I think it works so well, especially for the main villain. So I can't wait to see more of just Alchemy in general, not only because of the character, but because of who's playing the character as well. Yeah.
All right, well, that's a good way to wrap this up. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking out this live stream review. Leave your thoughts about the Flash in the comments below, and we'll make sure to check out the review of Arrow tomorrow night, and we'll be covering Flash next week as well. All right, guys, see ya.